The Joe Rogan Experience.
Do you even have Instagram?
Yeah.
You do?
Sure.
Do you make reels? Do you ever make
No.
like positive, hey guys, you can really do it. Push through it. Do you ever,
Well, I kind of ironically, as you know, I've been doing that for years. I'm kind of a soccer mom on social media just to infuriate people. That's my whole game. But I do, I've been doing this series called Block by Block on YouTube, which is with this guy, a homeless pimp, you know him, Mike Lavin. But we do.
I didn't know you were doing this.
Yeah, no, I have a bunch of episodes where I interview. It's my little, like the thing I care the most about doing, which is I interview people from different neighborhoods that in New York that I know over the years, and then just get them to tell stories about their neighborhood. So I was talking to my friend from Hell's Kitchen, Mike Spillane.
So this is it here? I didn't even know this was out there.
Yeah. And this is my
Colin,
Steve
one
Kelly.
of the problem with really great comics, and
Yeah.
I include you in there,
Yeah.
is that you guys are terrible at promoting things.
Yeah. I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's also why the stuff you put out is so great, because you're only thinking about the stuff. You're not thinking about promoting the stuff, which is a totally different animal.
And we wouldn't know where, we would only come here. Where else would we go? We don't know.
Well, doing it yourself, like doing your own promotion or like letting people, you know, like getting...
But I interviewed this one guy, Mike Spillane from Hell's Kitchen, and they're famous family over there. He's telling all the stories of the old. But one of the stories, which you will like, was him and my friend Robert, who died, and his cousin. They were in a bar. It's like 1980s, and Midtown. So Hell's Kitchen is connected to the theater and all the Madison Square Garden. So in a bar, some guy starts with Mike Spillane. He hits him. The guy's friend grabs him around his neck. It's Andre the Giant.
Oh, my God.
They're in a fight with Andre the Giant.
Oh, my God.
And he picks him up and flings him, and it's like a whole famous story of them fighting, getting their ass kicked by Andre the Giant.
Oh, my God.
And then the cops come and grab them outside and arrest him, and the cop walks in, finds out what happened, sees Andre, and just walks out and laughs and goes, let him go. Don't worry about it. So, like, just finding different stories of different neighborhoods. That's my little thing for,
That was
like
back
what
in
I
the
like
day
doing.
before Instagram, where people weren't snitches.
That exactly right.
Yeah.
So that's all. I'm just talking to these people and finding out all the great stories from
If that happened today, Andre would be all over the news. People would be angry at him.
Oh my God! Everybody have an opinion on all of it.
Oh, yeah.
And when this guy was telling the story, I go, so people must have been buying you drinks for months. He goes, at Hell's Kitchen that time, 2 weeks, and then there was some new story happening. He goes, that wasn't even the story of the month.
What a great name for a neighborhood.
Hell's Kitchen, yeah.
What a great name.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you kind of have to act crazy if
And
you're there.
they did, yeah. They.
If
I mean,
you're going
just-
to move to Hell's Kitchen, that's a very specific mindset.
Well, now, of course, it's different, but it was the most. Just imagine a neighborhood in the middle of Times Square when Times Square was Taxi Driver. Mm-hmm. So they had to deal with all of that. The theaters, so that all the stagehands were there. Mm-hmm. All the Teamsters were there. There was a combination of everything, all the music studio, Lincoln Center on one side, all these, and in the middle is all these crazy Irish guys and Puerto Ricans.
Yeah. Just so much music and so much stuff came out of that area.
It's crazy.
It really is when you really
It's
think
a really
about it.
wild, the center of the universe, they used to call it.
And for how long? Like 20 years?
Like 50, 60.
50, 60?
Yeah.
Really? It was that hot for that many years?
Well, hot in what way? I mean, it was
Hot
Times
in,
Square.
like the interesting aspect of it.
The interesting aspect, I bet,
Yeah.
was 40 to 50 years. I would say from 1950 to 2000.
What killed it? Giuliani?
No, it just became, it became Times Square. You're talking about Times Square?
Times Square became gentrified.
Giuliani, yeah, gentrified it. And people started to
Corporatized is a
feel
better
safe.
word, right?
Yeah.
It's like it
But-
became Applebee's.
But it did. It's disappointing, but at the same time, it was Sodom and Gomorrah. It was very bad.
It was very bad when I first went there. When I was living in Boston, I came to New York for a karate tournament, ironically, in like 82, 83, I think. So I was in high school, so probably 83.
Love it.
And I was like, this is nuts. Like, this place is fucking nuts.
It was nuts.
It was nuts. It's like all peep shows and pimps and hookers.
Yes.
And just, it looked black and white. Like this, like even
Yes.
though it was like in color,
Yes.
like everything looked black and white. It looked dirty and seedy, and there was just junkies on the street.
Yep.
And people with like long coats and people yelling at people. And you're
Yep.
like, yo, this place is nuts. Times Square was a place that everybody avoided.
That's right.
Somehow or another, Times Square became a tourist trap.
Well, because of Giuliani. Giuliani cleaned up the peep show. there was a law, I guess, where you couldn't have, you had to have like 30% legitimate in your peep show. And there was some law that happened where they got rid of all the peep
30%
shows.
legitimate? What does that mean?
30% like a regular store. Like you couldn't just have all porn. Some obscure law. I don't know what it was.
Sell Joey DeRosa sandwiches.
But that's basically what they did do. They had to have a legitimate thing and then the porn in the back or something.
Oh, God.
And that was in the mid-'90s, and then it got cleaned.
Well, they used to have the XXX movie theaters.
That's right.
Where, you know, you want to talk about the lowest class of human being that you could possibly encounter in public?
Yeah.
Guys going to jerk off in a room with other guys jerking off, watching a movie.
Yeah. Of course.
Just the most degenerate humans available. And it was in Times Square, too.
It was all over the place.
Yeah.
No, the whole country had those.
Oh, yeah.
Every city had, Times Square just had 50 of them.
Well, the craziest
Everybody else
story
had one.
The craziest story is Deep Throat.
Yes.
Because Deep Throat, they were trying to turn it into, so the country was so naive back then.
Yep.
And porn, you didn't have VCRs, so the idea of a porn addiction seemed ridiculous to people.
Yeah.
So what they did with Deep Throat is they made a cinematic movie that was a porn film, and all these stars went to go see it. Like Johnny Carson was there, in line, they were interviewing them, where they're going to see a porn film.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's only like 1970-something.
72 or something like that. And couples would go all over the country and go to these sleazy theaters and watch Deep Throat.
Wild.
Isn't
They
that
weren't even sleazy theaters. These were regular theaters that showed Deep Throat.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
People are so... That's so interesting. Like, you think about how much porn... Like, right now, porn is what percentage of the internet, Jamie? Is it 30-something%? It's like 30-something% of all internet traffic. All of it. All of the world is porn.
That's crazy.
It didn't even exist before Deep Throat.
No.
Like, you had stag films that you would hear about.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother-in-law, he was getting married.
Yes.
Went to the stag party, and they showed a movie.
Yeah.
This, like, grainy movie of this, like, sad heroin addict fucking these guys. Like,
That's
ugh.
right. Yeah.
Ugh. They were gross.
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought that would be on your phone?
The Mafia. I know. Exactly. But it's so funny because I remember Deep Throat was the big breakthrough. First it was The Devil and Miss Jones. I was like 11 or 12, and I remember we laughed about it. We didn't know what we were laughing at. And then next thing you know, we're like 18, 19, we're going up Times Square to porn. And, we're right there. You just take the train, you're right there. And but it was so psychotic that, and I knew a girl that ended up going into like working in those Times Square booths, and I'm sure a lot of people did, but it was really crazy to me that she was doing that.
Wow, that is crazy.